I would be, I want to say 14 years old. We're in Redfern in Sydney.
Why are you in Redfern?
So we were in Sydney. I can't even remember. I think it was the State of Origin. My dad had organised us to go and watch the State of Origin. Anthony Mundine wasn't playing football anymore. He was boxing. And we're in Sydney.
Now, for people that don't know, who is Anthony Mundine in the sporting world?
Anthony Mundine is, you can argue with me as much as you want, Anthony Mundine is probably the most prolific sports person we have from Australia. He was the best at his sport.
What did he do for the sport of rugby league?
At a time where rugby league, and I was in Queensland at the time when rugby league was ridiculous anyway, he was unreal. He added so much level of excitement. He was and this is what's crazy about it. Not everyone forgets. He was at the tip of him entering his peak of a rugby league player. I don't think he was at his best yet, but he was one of the best players in our country. And he left it to go and follow his dad and do boxing. And everyone thought he was crazy because at that point in time, I think he was going to be like one of the highest paid. It was like going to be $1 million. It was like
the first player to receive $1 million contract.
Right? $1 million, right? And he said, nah, I'm going to go box. And then everyone thought he was crazy. And I remember, I think when I was in Redfern, it was like, it was still new, but he had boxed a couple of times and people were like, okay, he's actually for real. The mouthpiece of Anthony Mundine is so different to who he is as a person. Like, you ever meet him, he is the most nicest, sweetest, generous person you'll meet. It's crazy to me that people just see what he portrays and they hold that and they just hold on to it so tight. So anyways, the story is, I'm like 13, 14. We're in there for the State of Origin.
Now, Redfern, that's not a safe area.
Not at that point in time.
If you're white, you don't get off at that train
like
station.
It's not. It wasn't, and at that point in time, it wasn't safe. For there was a lot of reasons. There was a lot of tension at that point in time. And my dad had done a painting. My dad's an Aboriginal artist, and he had done a painting. So, let me rewind it back. So the reason why my dad knows Anthony Mundine is because with the rugby league world, there was this point where there was this thing called Super League. And at that point in time, Anthony Mundine was actually signed to the Brisbane Broncos. And that's how him and my dad met. And so my dad did a lot of artwork for him, and that's how they met. 96, right? And so this would have been 97. So anyways, the year after we're in it would have been 97, 98, somewhere in there. And we're going there for the State of Origin, and my dad's like, we're going to go meet up with someone, and we go to Redfern. And like, for me, it wasn't scary or anything. It was like, we're just going to go see uncles and aunties or like people that dad knew and stuff. So we go to this gym, and as soon as I walk in the gym, I recognized it straight away because it was Anthony Mundine's dad's gym. And we get in there, it's just amazing old building, amazing pictures all on the wall, like just a lot of history and context. Then we walk around the corner, and Anthony Mundine is training in the ring with a sparring partner. And I remember being so amazed at him doing, I think it was like 100 or 200 push-ups. Like, he finished his little sparring thing, and then his dad or his trainer was like, okay, 200 push-ups, and he just went down and did it. Like, it was nothing. And I was sitting there like, and I'm in my peak fitness stage at that point. Like, I'm playing basketball all the time. There's no way I could do like more than 20 push-ups like in a go. And he did it. And it was just so surreal being there with that much history in that area and how much tension was there. When I think back, it's like one of my fondest memories. But it was just a great experience. And I remember my dad went and said hello. He's in the middle of this training. I can't even remember. I wish I could remember who he was fighting, and I know I could Google it and stuff. But he just like took the time to like say, hey, what's up, little butter? What's going on? Like, we weren't there as fans. We weren't trying to take photos and get signatures, but it was just a really cool thing to see. I always remember it. That's like one of the coolest things in the history of my life. But then I've heard recently that the gym's not there anymore. It's been knocked down and all that stuff. That is heartbreaking because there's a lot of history in that place.